For those of you who don't know me, I'm Melisa Nielsen. I am the founder of Waldorf Essentials and the co-founder of Ariel's Light, which houses Waldorf Essentials and Seasons of Seven. And Melanie and I have been business partners for about 3 years. And before that, my husband and I started Waldorf Essentials about 20 years ago. So we've been at this for a long time. I'm a long-time homeschooler, always homeschooled, have 5 children. She's my youngest. All of them have been homeschooled. 4 of them through high school. Well, 3 of them. She'll be homeschooled through high school. So really, the space that we stand in is a space of encouragement that it can absolutely be done, and it is not as scary as often people make it sound. But the things we're going to talk about tonight will help it be easier. So if you've been following me for 5 minutes, you're going to hear a lot of things that you already know that I talk about all the time. So if that feels nauseating, I'm so sorry, but hopefully you just go, oh yeah, she keeps saying this because I need to do it. So that's really the space that we're in. So I want you guys to sort of start by closing your eyes and clearing your mind for a minute. So just take a few cleansing deep breaths. And I want you to think about your home life. I want you to think about how it feels. Is it calm? Is it chaotic? Is it happy? Is it frustrating? Are you and your partner on the same page? Like, do you feel cohesion in your home? I just want you to think about that for just a moment. And then I want you to ask yourself, is this how I want it to feel? Hopefully, the answer to that is some form of, yes, we're at least working in that direction, or I'm there, I feel like it's strongly in my home, I feel really good about it. If not, hopefully the things that we talk about tonight will be helpful in those endeavors. So you can come back. I'm going to just get started here. So tonight we're going to talk about the 6 keys to having a healthy home life and a happy home life. And they're keys that I have practiced for many years. And it does not mean there are not ups and downs, and there are not bumps, there are not frustrations, there are not things that happen where you have to sort out your marriage or work on a child that maybe has some challenges. It does not mean those things don't happen, but it means that you're well equipped for those things when they do happen. And it just sort of makes it easier. So the first thing we're going to talk about is examining how we show up. So with regards to that, we want you to ask yourselves, what are your personal values? How are you showing up, and are you authentic? Are you showing up the way you want to show up? Are you feeling authentic in how you're showing up? Are you feeling like what you see is what you get? That's where you always are, and that if I see you in the grocery store, you're going to be the same person that you are when you meet me here. So that's that space of true authenticity, because sometimes we put on masks for other people. So we want to make sure that you're feeling this space of how you show up, and you're feeling your values and you're living in your values. So the other thing I usually ask is what are your triggers? So my personal trigger is lack of sleep. I am a really happy, nice person, but I was just laughing with the 2 Tiffany's on the way here. If I have not enough sleep, the swear words start falling out of my mouth really fast and really easy, and I'm not really giving a damn who's around. So that tells you that I'm tired. So what are your triggers? Thinking about what your triggers are, and are you paying attention to those triggers? If it's something like lack of sleep, most of us can handle lack of sleep for 1 or 2 nights. But if you're constantly struggling with lack of sleep, you and your partner need to have a conversation about how you can help each other out. And of course, there are always going to be times when you've got little ones and they're teething or up in the night more. But you want to make sure that you are in communication with your partner so that you both can figure out that space. So really sorting out what your triggers are. And maybe your trigger is something else. Maybe your trigger is hunger. You get hangry. So you have to make sure that you're nourishing yourself. Another one of my triggers is not enough inner work time, not enough time to sit and be me. And that doesn't have to take hours every day, especially when they're really little, but it does take time, and you have to make that time. So really sort of thinking about that. Asking yourself, do you have balance? Do you have a work-home life balance? Like if you're working in the home or outside of the home, like do you have that balance? Is there balance in your home as far as you and your partner and what you're each shouldering? Does it feel good to you? If it doesn't feel good to you, are there ways that you can adjust that? Or are you constantly worried about like, oh gosh, if I say something, then he's going to tell me I should give up homeschooling. And I've worked with a lot of families that have been in that spot, that have been like, well, my husband says if I want more time, I need to send them to school. That's actually not how it works. Because you should be homeschooling because you chose to do this together. And if you chose to do it together, then you're making those decisions together, and you're both working on that space together. It's not just all your responsibility. So really thinking about that balance. And then what's the lens of your current situation? So when you're thinking about sort of like where you are, what is that, is your set point glasses half empty, glasses half full? And so much of that has to do with temperament, but also like how you are taking care of yourself. Again, if you are somebody who really needs a lot of alone time and you're not getting enough of it, you're going to probably be showing up glasses half empty a lot more than somebody like me who, yes, I need alone time, but I'm glasses half full all the time, and the cup is probably almost always overflowing. So you want to sort of be in that space where you understand, like, what is the lens of my current situation, and am I happy with that space? Because that's like the trigger or the space where you have to then decide, okay, wait, it doesn't feel good, so what changes do I need to make so that I can make sure that it does feel good? Because here's the crazy secret. It's not really a secret. Your kids seem like they're going to be little for forever, but it goes by like that. It goes by so fast. I have 5 children. She's the youngest of 5. She is the youngest in my house. The next child is an adult. And it goes so fast, so fast. So you really want to be in a space where you can savor every moment. And if you're having trouble savoring every moment, then you have to adjust. You have to figure out, how do I do that so that it doesn't feel so hard? One thing that I tell parents all the time, like especially when it comes to homeschooling, so you may have heard me say this, if you're hating it and it's not fun, you're doing something wrong. Because this journey should be fun. If there's at any point a time where you're like, this is garbage, you should step back and ask yourself, wait, what am I not doing right? There's something missing here, because it should be fun. Even on those days that are hard, even when you're slogging through math land and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so hard, is this child ever gonna get it? You should still be having fun. It should still be a fun endeavor, because otherwise, why are you doing it? They know if you're not having fun. They know if you didn't prepare. They know if you just read the lesson plan 5 minutes before you started school. They know. And they know more than I know. Like, I could sit in on your lesson and your child will know faster than I will know whether or not you're prepared. Because they know what your set point is. They know what lens you look at things through. They know that. So really being in that space of knowing what where you're going with that is super important. So the second key then would be like examining meltdowns with children and fights with partners. So I want you to think about the last meltdown in your house, whether it was with your partner, with your child, and I want you to ask yourself, how did you show up? Like, what were you doing when the meltdown happened? I mean, the best is when you're like on the phone, right? You're on the phone talking to somebody, there's no other adults in the house, the dog throws up, there's kids that are having a fit, and you're trying to have a conversation with somebody about medical insurance. It doesn't work. So you want to like step back and ask yourself, what was I doing? Because when we can examine what our actions were and how we showed up, then no longer is it the 3-year-old's fault, the 5-year-old's fault. It's, oh wait, I'm the grown-up here. What was I doing? What was my attitude when I came toward things? Because it's so easy, especially when you have multiple children, to be like, y'all need to quit fighting. Whose fault is it? Like, and if you weren't there and you weren't holding that space, then you're going to like be fighting a losing battle. So you really want to really think about how you showed up. Asking yourself, was I distracted? Was I on the phone? Was I texting? Was I, what were you doing during that time? I think it's especially important when you've got kids that are under 9 to ask yourself those questions, because we do need to be engaged when we're with them. They know, again, just like they know whether or not your lessons are prepared, they totally know if you're skipping out up here. They know if you're distracted. They know if you're disassociated. They know if you are not present. They know so quick, so much faster than, again, I would know. Your child knows if you're disassociating and you're not paying attention. So really working on that space is really helpful when you're coming down to looking at how children are interacting and what fights might be happening in your house. The same with your partner. So think about the last argument you had with your partner and go, okay, wait, how did we both show up? Were we just really hungry? Like, there are so many times that Eric and I start talking, I'm like, okay, we need a snack first because it's not going to go well. And because we both work from home, we decided we can't be in the office after 8 p.m. because then somehow we start talking about money and then it's all bad. And it's really not bad. So it's because of what are those triggers? What are the things that are going on that maybe you should just say, hey, I love you. In fact, I love you so much. I don't want to fight with you. Let's go get a snack. Let's go for a walk. Let's put kids to bed. Let's breathe out a little bit, and then let's come back to this conversation. And of course, you can't always do that, but you definitely can do that probably 99% of the time, because that other 1% is not going to matter as much when you are making sure that you connect. And the other thing I like to ask is, did you front load before? Like, if you're looking at fights, did you front load it? And do you know what front loading is? So front loading is this concept, like packing a diaper bag. That's front loading. Making sure if you've got a child that has, like I know Desi's daughter has a medical issue, she needs a ton of snacks. A ton of snacks. I've been out with Desi enough times to know that Emma needs her snacks all the time. So if Desi doesn't do that, what happens? It doesn't go well. Doesn't go well. So like if you've got a child that needs a lot of snacks, or you've got yourself, if that's one of your triggers that you're hangry, you better have beef sticks in your purse. You better have like something. My second son, so melancholic, and melancholics need sugar. So you need to carry some candy from Whole Foods or something in your purse for that child. There have been many times, and he's 26 years old now, where I'm like, Jacob, please don't make me force candy in your mouth. Because I need you to just breathe out. And he won't until he gets that little bit of sweetness. Often it's that space of, and for any of you who are melancholics, you might be able to relate, it's that space of, wait, the sweetness of life is gone. So we need to help them bring the sweetness back. You can do that with a little bit of juice, you can do that with fruit, but in a pinch, it works to have Tic Tacs or candy or something in your purse. So if you've got a child like that, think about those things. Think about the child that's hangry, the child that gets bored, the child that's struggles. This one here, she gets bored. So my other son that still lives at home, he's like, Soraya, why do you have to take your whole room with you everywhere? So she's always got 3 books in the car. She's always got something that she's doing because she gets bored, and she knows that about herself. So she knows that she's always taking books or something with her. But she's 14. She didn't know, automatically know that. That came from me being we need to take these books with us so that Soraya's not bored. So thinking about how you're front loading is super important, and really thinking about, okay, what am I doing tomorrow? What things are going on this week that I need to prepare for now? If you've got a potluck tomorrow, do you know what y'all are having? Do you know now? Because if you don't, you might want to think about that. So that you're front loading. So it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's co-op tomorrow or whatever. Having that front loading done, having your bag back, by the door. Always know where the heck their shoes are. We were laughing about shoes, and that have younger kids might think this is crazy. They don't outgrow it. If you have a child that is constantly not wearing their shoes, guess what? You're gonna have a teenager that doesn't wear their shoes. So when Soraya was 8, we lived in San Diego. And those of you who don't know the distance between San Diego and Los Angeles, it's 90 minutes if there's no accidents. It's 6 hours if there's accidents, but this was a day that there were not a lot of accidents. And we got up, and it was 1 in the afternoon. We knew it would take us a couple hours to get there, and we decided we were gonna go to a museum in Los Angeles. So we got in the car, there had been no accidents. We got in the car, we drove. She was 8 years old, we drove all the way there. My husband and I get out of the car, Samuel gets out of the car, and Soraya's words were, "Where are your shoes?" I was like, "Excuse me? What do you mean, where are your shoes?" So we did the entire, what's that big museum there? Oh my gosh, it's a big museum. It's free, but it's like, it's totally left my head. We pushed her in a stroller, the entire, and it wasn't my stroller, because I went to the security guard. The security guard's like, you know, this is like a millions of dollars museum. You can't come in here barefoot. And I said, we drove 2 hours. Do you have any options for us? He said, will she fit in an umbrella stroller? So I pushed an 8-year-old in an umbrella stroller all over the museum complex. So now, you know, this is a funny joke, like, wear your shoes. Are they on your feet? So if you have a child that you think they're gonna outgrow it, like seriously, we're actually just laughing because Melanie's son is also the where are my shoes child. Just about 6 months ago, I was up here and Melanie was like, went to get a haircut or something. And so I took her son, I don't even remember where we were going. And we get halfway there. These kids are 14. He goes, shoot, Miss Melisa, I don't have my shoes. I was like, okay. So, you know, it happens. So if you've got a child that, I always laugh, like in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, he invents spray-on shoes. I need those. I need those for every kid in my house. The spray-on shoes, that would totally save so many issues. So thinking about that front-loading space, so you don't drive 2 hours and have your kid get out of the car and not have shoes. It's a problem, right? So I want you to think about, are you front-loading? Front-loading is super, super important. And you need to teach your partner how to front-load. It's so crazy to me when they come home and they're like, this happened and that happened. I'm like, did you feed them? Oh, I forgot. Like, that's why they acted that way. So, you know, making sure that they do the things, and sometimes they have to learn by experience, just like we have to learn by experience. But I'll always say, would you like me to help you have that not happen again? And sometimes he's like, no, I'm good. And so I just kind of laugh and go, okay, well, enjoy. Eventually they're going to say, okay, wait, how did you have that not happen to you? Well, let's see, I knew where their shoes were. Everybody had a snack. I knew who was going to need to stop 6 times to use the toilet. Like, I knew. And I paid attention to those things. So we have to indoctrinate our partners a little bit when it comes to this. But it is really an important thing to helping your whole life run smoother. Is if you can truly, like, take a choleric stance to front loading, then you will all be happy, like really being able to do that space. Okay, so let's see. The next thing I would say is, how connected are you? So when it comes to examining meltdowns, whether it's with a child or with your partner, how connected are you? Are you like, and connected, like heart-centered connectedness in your home? Like, do you all feel the love? And do you feel like there's a like disturbance in the force if somebody's not feeling the love? Like, so if you don't feel that, that is something you really want to like lean into. How connected are you? Are you making sure that at the end of the day, when you lay down to go to sleep, that you can think about connection points with each child all day long? And it's hard when you have a lot of kids. I get it. I had 5, but I made that like my personal goal every day, that I had to at least touch that spinning plate for each child once a day, because I want them to know that, hey, I know you're one of 5, but dang, I love you like you're an only child. And you are important to me like you're the only one. And so that is really important, and it's important that you're thinking about that in regards to your own needs as well. So thinking about how you can incorporate those things. They don't have to be giant. You don't have to take a kid out to ice cream every day in order to know they're connected with you. You know what they want? They want you to sit and help them tie their shoes. They want you to sit and help them comb their hair. They want a hug from you. That's really what they're asking for, and that connection point. And the same with your partner. Having that connection point with your partner is just as important, because when that connection point isn't there, and often we're the ones that are pushing it. And so sometimes they can get so far in their head they're not paying attention to that. But we've got to keep that going, because that really helps you not to have those challenges that are going on in your home. Okay, the third key is, what systems do you have in place? And this is probably one that y'all have heard me say a lot. But like, what does your rhythm look like? When are you eating? When are you going to bed? How's everybody sleep? Like, those are key pieces. Do you have a family meeting? Those are key pieces for your home every day and every week. When kids know what they're eating, they fight less. They bug you less. Like, I don't have to do it so much anymore. Now we keep a family journal that has the menu in it. But I could just go, they know where to go look for it. It's either on the fridge, it's in the journal. They know what we're eating. They don't have to ask me. They don't worry. When kids are asking you that, the question they're asking is like, we're gonna eat dinner tonight, right? Like, even if you've eaten dinner every night for the last, 5 years, they're asking that question. But if they know that you know, they're not asking that question so much. And they're feeling calmer. Kids that feel that calm peace, fight less. So kids that have good rhythm, fight less. So, take it from a household with lots of kids. I had 3 sons, busy sons. When we had good rhythm, things worked. When rhythm was off, I was constantly like, crap, I gotta sort this out because everybody's uncomfortable. So you really wanna look at what does your rhythm look like? Do you know what time they're going to bed? And is it at a good bedtime? Most kids are so sleep deprived. They're so exhausted all the time. And I saw some exhausted kids today. They are so exhausted. So if you've got a child that's not napping and is under 7, then you need to be in bed by 7. They're usually gonna sleep until 7, maybe 8 in the morning. They need all that sleep. So you really wanna think about that. You really wanna think about, even if they are napping, those naps need to be done before 3 o'clock. So that you can then have a busy early evening and get them back to bed and really be working on healthy sleep habits. Because here's what's crazy. How many of y'all had healthy sleep habits when you became an adult? Where do you think you should have learned that?
As a child.
At home. Yes, your parents should have taught you that. That is something that is so important, and so many parents are sending kids off into the world who have horrible sleep habits. And so if you're somebody that was like, I didn't even know how to sleep without a TV on. Well, you don't want your child to be in that space. You want to teach them that it's good to settle. You want to teach them that it's good to quiet down at night. So think about your family rhythm when it comes to that. We've had a rule. Soraya and I are not doing a very good job at it right now. But when I had a house full of children, the TV didn't come on after 6 o'clock. So if you wanted to watch TV, there was a short window before dinner, 2 hours. It didn't come on before 4 p.m. because we were homeschooling, and it was off at dinner. So like I said, Soraya and I watch shows at night together, but she doesn't have any sleep issues. So, but when you've got little ones at home, you don't want that media getting them all crazy and wound up. So after 6 p.m., lights were dim. Also, dinner's the runway for bedtime. So if you are doing a bunch of stuff in the evening, you gotta stop because they need quiet. They need quiet. They need to have that space. And you should be looking at all of your children and basing things on the youngest child. That just is how it has to be in your home for a few years. When we lived in San Diego, we had karate in the evenings. Well, guess what? I had to make sure that dinner was still the runway for bedtime. So there were times that they were eating and putting on pajamas before we came home. Because dinner is the runway for bedtime. I want them ready for bed. Because what happens is they get their second wind and then they're up for hours. So if you've got a child that is chronically not going to bed before 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, it's probably because they're overtired and they've gotten their second wind. And that second wind, when Soraya would get her second wind, and it would happen a lot because she's a more child who I love so much, but it would happen a lot. I'd be like, dang it, how did we miss that sleep window? Put on your shoes, we're going for a walk. We go for a walk, get that second wind out. Get it out so that they're ready to go to bed then when they get home. And you're working that through because you don't want, the second wind could last until midnight. You don't want that. You really want the second wind to get out of them so they can get into bed and get to sleep. So that is another really important piece. Let's see, where was I here? Kids who have good rhythm, don't act out so much, just said that. Are you having a weekly family meeting? Even if they're little. Excuse me, get them in the habit of having a weekly family meeting. Get together and just talk about last week and how it went and next week and how it's going to go. It's a great time to plan out your menu for the week. It's a great time to discuss any hiccups or oopsies with child's behavior, it's a great time to be looking at, well, okay, so daddy has something really important at work on Thursday, so he's not going to be home for dinner. That's when you have these conversations with them so that they know what's going on in your house. Also, as they become teenagers, they all, and especially if they've got one of these smart devices or really dumb devices, but as you get to that space, they all need to be synced to the same calendar. We are all synced to the same Apple calendar. And guess what? If you don't put your crap on the calendar, I'm not obliged to take you to it. So it only happens once or twice, but they're like, but I really wanted to. Sorry. It has to be on the calendar. It has to become part of your rhythm, and then you can see how everybody works together. And if you're having that family meeting, then the children that are just like, oh, but it's all about me, start to realize it's not just about them. It helps them to see the entire family. It helps them see, oh, wait, I have a brother that has a job. I have this that goes on this day, and we all have to work together, especially if you're a one-car household. Then you really have to figure that one out. We were a one-car household for many, many years, and so we were constantly trying to figure out how we get 5 kids where they needed to go. So you really want to have that family meeting. Again, start really small. Start when they're, in high chair still. So we would have them bring paper to draw on so that we could just you're starting to create that space. They can sit and draw even when mom and dad are talking. And then it just continues to grow from there. Excuse me. And then let's see. Talked about family meeting. This is also a good place, like I said, if there were any hiccups. If dad works outside the home, we found it really, really helpful for dad to have interviews every week with kids. Because if dad is outside the home, he's not seeing what you're doing every single day. So we found Sunday night, Sunday afternoon to be a really good time for dad to take each one of them and say, Mom said you did really well this week. Or, Mom said she really gave her a hard time this week with school. Like, what's going on? It's not a punitive thing. It's a connection thing. You're really looking for them to connect with the other parent. So the other parent knows what they're doing, knows what's going on. And conversely with that, the other parent should know, what main lesson block are you teaching right now? My husband and I are always on the same page when it comes to what they're learning right now. Because then it gives them something else to talk to them about. And guess what? Dads who know how to talk to their kids pull out their phone less. You have less YouTube videos if they know what they're talking to their kids about. So you want to sort of instill that space of, oh wait, you don't have to do something else with them. Talk to them about their favorite fairy tale that they did this week, or what letters they're learning, or what their favorite animal was. Having those conversations then really helps dad be involved in a schooling situation where often dad's not in. Okay, let's see. We talked about sleep and rise time. Oh, y'all need to be getting up before your kids. I know that's the one that people hate it when I say, but getting up before your kids saves your life. It will help you to greet them instead of you feeling like you've been shot out of a cannon. Being shot out of a cannon really sucks. I don't know if anybody else has been shot out of a cannon before, but having somebody try to pry your eyes open and ask what's for breakfast is not a way I want to start my day. I want to be able to greet them. So I want to get myself settled first. I want to get myself, in a grounded space so that then I can go and greet them. Best if you can meet them for the morning, but even if you're still trying to figure out where your coffee's at, you still want to be in your own skin before your kids are getting up. For many years, I was up at 5 a.m. and that was because the next child was up at 6 a.m. And so I got up and I did a lot of work at that point. Doesn't mean that if a child is choosing to get up that early that you need to entertain them. Because also our day didn't start till 8. So just because a child chose to get up at 6 didn't mean I started entertaining them at 6. Lights stayed down in the house. They're welcome to look at books. They're welcome to play with blocks. If you wake up your siblings, you're going to be in trouble. So don't do that. It will not go good for anybody. And we're working on this space of having that rhythm. What tends to happen with those kids is they tend to be like, oh my gosh, it's so boring if I get up so early. I'm just going to stay in bed first. And they often just then figure out how to sleep over. Okay, do you have I already talked about your school lessons, making sure that they're planned. If you're not somebody who's been with Waldorf Essentials for a while, we start in April. We start in April, and we do that because we don't want you cramming in July. We start in April. It doesn't mean we're doing our daily lesson plans in April. It means we're looking at your whole year in April. It means you're getting familiar with the curriculum in April. You're like spending this time step by step by step, getting yourself ready to when you are planning those daily lessons. I guarantee you right now, the thing that is so hard about our inbox at Waldorf Essentials is there's probably 10 people in there right now that are like, crap, I just bought the curriculum yesterday, what do I do? And I usually say, give it a month. Take the time, do the planning. Because if you try to start tomorrow, you're going to be mad at yourself and you're going to give up and you're going to feel like it's not working for you. So if you really want Waldorf to work for you, you have to put in the time. Waldorf is not an open and go curriculum. It's very heart-centered and very spirit-centered, and it's not just heart-centered for the child. It's heart-centered for the parent, for the teacher. The people that are actually bringing the curriculum have to know and understand what the curriculum is. So you want to know, well, why am I doing this? We try to be really good with Waldorf Essentials of saying like, well, this is why you're doing that. And I know the teachers at Seasons of 7, if you've got kids there, you want to know, Miss Tiffany will tell you. She'll tell you why. You want to know, you want to understand the why behind what Steiner said to do here? They'll tell you. That's what you want to, that place that you really want to embody as you're moving into this homeschooling space. And even if you're using Seasons of 7, you still have some prep to do. Because the teachers really like it when the kids are dressed for Zoom. It's actually school rule. You can't come to Zoom naked. We've had to say that. So the teachers really like it when the kids are ready when they have Zoom. And that only can happen if you're working on your rhythm in your house. And that everybody's in a good place. Okay, let's see. Also think about seasonal rhythms. Do you plan out your seasonal rhythms? And that's more than just Christmas and New Year's and birthdays. Are you living the festival year? Doesn't mean you have to live the festival year, but what we're doing here at this conference is part of that festival year. We didn't just wake up Thursday and say, gosh, I think it'd be really good if we had a conference, and what should we do at it? Melanie and I have been Waldorf parents for many years, so it was like, oh, Michaelmas sounds like a good idea. That'll be a lot of fun, because we've had enough Michaelmas festivals between us that we know how much fun Michaelmas can be. So think about your festival year. And it doesn't mean you have to do all the festivals, because there's a lot of them. And if you're in a year like third grade where you've also got the Jewish festivals too, give yourself a break. Just pick the ones that are really good and that you really like, that really speak to you, and focus on those. But do the work and plan them out, and know why you're celebrating what you're celebrating. Nothing is weirder than the parent who doesn't understand what Easter is. And I'm just using Easter as because you would think everybody knows that, right? You know how many people I talk to, they're like, is that when Jesus was born? I'm like, oh Lord, okay. So if they're not going to know that, they probably don't know what Michaelmas or Martinmas or anything else is either. So you really want to understand what it is that you're celebrating and why. It's important. Otherwise, don't celebrate it. I would prefer to fully understand a festival than try to do it halfway. But that might just be me, because I like to know everything. So, okay, the next key is spiritual practices. So, and I'm not talking about religion, but do you have an inner work practice? Do you have a spiritual practice that speaks to you? And then I'm going to step out here on a limb a little bit and say, does your husband? Because it isn't just about us doing inner work. Because what happens is we grow and they don't. So you might have to poke and prod and just say, hey, what are you doing to connect? Doesn't mean you have to orchestrate it, but you want to make sure they're doing something. Because they are going to see you growing, and then they are going to feel like, oh wait, what happened here? She grew and I didn't. We don't want to be in that space. We want to be growing together. And so it's perfect if you can grow together and you can be working on that space together. Many men are intensely private about that space and they don't want to share it, but make sure that something is happening and you're giving them the space for that to happen. The fifth key would be spice. So how is your relationship with your partner? Do you guys go on weekly dates? And it doesn't mean you have to leave your house. You can go on a date after you put the kids to bed. You can sit and play cards together. You can watch a movie together. You can journal together. You can do something together. But are you having that connection point together every week? And if you are and you're still having some marital challenges, then go, okay, we need to go deeper. What's the next piece here? What, and really, really, again, having dads do the work. Because we don't want dads just to show up. We want dads to totally do the work too. And the last key is to find joy in the journey. So, some of you probably know that we've had a rough summer, and having a rough summer doesn't mean I didn't look for ways to find joy in the journey. Because even when it's bad, you have to find reasons to laugh. Whether it's at your child, whether it's just being with your family, you have to find reasons to laugh. And sometimes it's really hard, and sometimes you're laughing through tears. But you have to find joy in the journey, because that's what it's all about. So our curriculum is pretty terrific. But more than just the curriculum, you also get a full training program that is geared towards your child's grade, so that you are looking at the content that you need to have in your wheelhouse as you're working through things. We also include our exclusive Planning for Peace planning program that we run every year, and we help you throughout the year so that you have all of the planning pieces that you need to execute this curriculum properly. We are so excited at the possibility of you joining us. If you have any questions, please let us know. We're happy to help you. Our team is very dedicated to your success.